60 Minutes, Rewind.
If you talk to people who spend a lot of time on airplanes, they'll tell you with a straight face that flying has never been more dependable. What you can depend on are crowded airports, long flight delays, and service that's not what it used to be. But there is one company that's unique. Dallas-based Southwest Airlines is not only a leader in on-time performance and safety, it tries to make flying fun for both its passengers and its employees. And no one has a better time than the boss. In order to know just how different this airline is, you have to get to know the man behind the plane. Meet Chief Executive Officer Herb Kelleher.
Well, gents, you ready for some more peanuts?
It's 9:30 a.m. somewhere over the Texas Hill Country, and Herb Kelleher is serving breakfast.
Ladies, have you been dying for a peanut?
It's not your normal breakfast, but then Southwest is not a normal airline. And Herb Kelleher, whose successes are studied at business schools from Harvard to Stanford, is not a normal chief executive officer.
I will bet you one thing, that I'm the only airline president in America that would go over to his maintenance hangar at 2 o'clock in the morning in a flowered hat with a feathered boa and a purple dress.
What school of management is this?
I think it's a school of management by fooling around, is what it is.
But Herb Kelleher is nobody's fool. For 16 straight years now, through energy crises and recessions, Southwest has turned a profit, a record unmatched by any of its larger competitors. Now the 10th largest carrier in America, it's on the verge of becoming a billion-dollar company, a major airline, and it succeeded by breaking all the rules.
When we started out, we said we're going to have a special niche in the industry, and if we're going to make it a really distinctive niche, we have to do things innovatively, and so we did. This is filet of Peabody.
This your first class meal? There are no first-class meals on Southwest, no meals at all, in fact, and no first class. There aren't even assigned seats. It would slow down the operation. 2 out of 3 Southwest flights are back on their way in 15 minutes or less, bound for their final destination. Unlike other airlines, Southwest doesn't have a hub. All of its service is point-to-point between 32 cities.
If you're flying from San Antonio to El Paso, you go to El Paso nonstop. We don't route you through Dallas or route you through Houston. And so it is a more convenient type of service, but you have to have very low costs in order to be able to provide it.
And Southwest's costs are the lowest in the business. The boarding passes are plastic and reusable. The tickets look like grocery store receipts. It's the only national carrier that doesn't belong to a computer reservation system, a savings of $25 million a year. You'd think that might present a problem for passengers making connections or transferring bags from other airlines. But it's no problem at all. Southwest doesn't make connections with other airlines. Isn't that inconvenient?
We don't sell interlining. We don't do it because it inconveniences the passengers to whom we are primarily dedicated, the short-haul frequent flyer that does not want to be held up in a ticket line for 30 minutes or be on the phone getting a busy signal for 30 minutes while some other passenger is trying to arrange a very detailed and very time-consuming interline journey, getting reservations on 2 or 3 other carriers and the best fare deal.
What Southwest passengers do get is fairly simple. Flights that leave on time and are frequent enough for a businessman to have breakfast in Dallas, lunch in Houston, an afternoon meeting in Austin, and be back home for supper. They also get the lowest fares in the industry. In nearly every market, there are one-way fares for just $19.
Southwest Airlines' success with respect to pricing is founded on the theory that you charge the lowest possible fare to develop the greatest possible volume, and that we compete with ground transportation, not other airlines. We got to the point in the Dallas-San Antonio market back in the 1970s where Braniff's standard coach fare was $62, and our pleasure class fare, the evening and weekend fare, was $15. Well, of course, shareholders would write in and say, we've noticed this discrepancy. Don't you think you have the latitude to increase your fare to $18 or $20 against $62? And we'd say, no, you don't understand the philosophy on which we're built.
In other words, $15 is what it costs to drive the car.
Yeah, less than it costs to drive the car, exactly.
The story will continue after this.
When Herb, Lamar Muse, and Rollin King began Southwest Airlines 18 years ago, the competition, Braniff and Texas International, waged an unsuccessful 3-year legal battle to kill them off.
Southwest Airlines would like to welcome you to Dallas Love Field, our home.
When Southwest's first flight finally got off the ground, there was $148 in the bank and a need to get people's attention.
Remember what it was like before Southwest Airlines? You didn't have hostesses and hot pants. Remember?
With 4 planes and an idea, Southwest would not only change the industry, it would change the state of Texas. With a monopoly at Love Field in the middle of Dallas, Southwest found a home and a strategy. It became the Love Airline.
Plus one thing no other airline can ever offer. Me. Remember?
This may all look a bit sexist now, but this was 1971.
Remember?
Southwest went out and hired flight attendants with long legs, big personalities, and as Texas Monthly put it, looked like they all graduated from the same West Texas high school.
And if you're still drinking, it's time to chug a lug it, because we must come by and pick up your glasses before landing.
Paula Phillips, Mary Goins, and Deborah Franklin were among the first hired, and those early flights were never boring.
And then we had Transylvania for Halloween, and all the men we would make as Count Draculas, different ones we'd choose, and they'd wear the little teeth and the blood, and they'd wear that off the airplane, you know? You could tell immediately when anyone would get on the airplane, they would unwind, definitely. Because we would, I don't know, it was like something was always going on, the airplane, games, anything from who has the biggest hole in your sock contest.
How many people
to
can you get in the
bathroom?
This ice is kind of bunchy.
Almost overnight, air traffic in the market Southwest served doubled and tripled, a trend that has continued as the airline has expanded. In every city they've gone to, other airlines flying the same routes have been forced to drop their prices in order to compete with Southwest.
I'm a soft sell guy, and if I catch you on another airline, I'll kill you. You'll kill me.
Go ahead and laugh, but some of his competitors think Herb is not kidding. One of them is Ed Beauvais, president of America West. How would you characterize the competition between you and Southwest?
Very tenacious, very tenacious. Probably the most tenacious confrontation in the country.
How does it differ, let's say, in the competition between TWA and American?
TWA doesn't try to drive American out of business, nor does American try to drive TWA out of business. Southwest tries to drive America West out of business.
That's not the case. That's really not the case. If we were, we would have.
The main battleground is Phoenix, where the two carriers have gone after each other with everything from cutthroat fares to television commercials. America West struck first, implying that Southwest passengers were embarrassed to be seen flying on a chintzy airline.
America West Airlines asks, why are these passengers covering up for their airline?
Herb countered with this.
If you're embarrassed to fly the airline with the fewest customer complaints in the country, Southwest will give you this bag. If, on the other hand, Southwest is your kind of airline, we'll still give you this bag. For all the money you'll save flying with us.
The competition between the two carriers has reduced the unrestricted fare from Phoenix to Los Angeles to $36. And on the 9 routes where the two compete, America West claims Southwest is absorbing $30 to $40 million in annual losses in order to win the war.
We're in his way. In other words, I don't think it's anything personal. He wants the West. He wants to establish his route system in Phoenix. And as soon as we vanish, he can do that because those fares would go up and the payoff would be very big. The payoff on this war is very big, very, very big.
Herb scoffs at the idea that the war with America West is costing tens of millions of dollars. If it was, he asks, how come Southwest is once again reporting record profits? How do you do it?
I'd like to tell you it was brilliant leadership, but I really can't with a straight face. It's because we have the most productive people in the industry that are proud of what they do and the fact that they do it so well.
Greetings, all you beautiful little heartthrobbers and fun seekers.
It may sound like outright flackery, except that Wall Street analysts say it's true. In a business where productivity equals profits, Southwest has the lowest turnover and the best labor relations in the industry, even though it's fully unionized. Salaries are comparable to other airlines, but Southwest pilots and flight attendants put in a lot more hours. They do it out of pride, profit sharing, and because they like their boss.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'll tell you what, give her my love, will you?
Thank you, sir.
Is the airline his life?
I believe so.
I think so. I really do. It's almost like a toy. He loves it. He really does. And that's why it makes us love it, because when you're around someone that cares about it and loves it so much, it's almost like, I don't want to do anything to spoil it, because he is such a good role model.
Good morning, Miss Sue. Don't you look nice?
At Southwest, hiring is almost a religion. Each employee is carefully screened for attitude, and before they start to work, they have to sit down and watch this company video that gives them an idea of what to expect.
Southwest Shuffle is the tendency to move when you're feeling good, when you're in the groove. It's time to go to work, time to have fun.
Sit down, buckle up, it's time to go.
But after we've spent several days above, wheels down, flaps down, we're back home at love.
We try to have an atmosphere at Southwest Airlines that makes you excited about coming to work, makes it fun to be at work. We encourage people to be individualistic, to enjoy themselves, to have a good time.